Welcome to Tap In, the podcast about positivity, potential, and possibility. Tune in while we utilize the power of open hearts and open minds to explore everything from magic and manifestation to triggers and transformation.
We become what we think about. Think about. Think about. Think about. Think about. Think about. What we think about. We think about. We think about. We think about.
Are you pulling a card for us?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so on today's episode, we have my second grade best friend, first public school friend, girl crush.
Me.
I had a girl crush at how old are you in second grade? 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be you. And then I was like, let me be her friend. And then we were friends, and then we had a falling out, and then we came back because we've been friends in another life.
It's true.
It's true.
We're back.
Also, you're one of the friends I talked about on another episode where it was like I talked about how there are certain people in my life who were in my life when I was younger and then were out of my life for my fucker years and then came back into my life now. And you're one of the people that check me if I'm being a fuck. Pretty
For
much.
better or for worse? Yes, that's right. All right, shall we pull a card?
Yeah, obviously. I love the cards. You already know. But
Should this be for you or for the people listening?
let's just do it for this
For
episode.
everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's set the stage. While you mix while you shuffle, explain yourself a little bit. Just give a little insight, like a debrief on Zena,
Hello down.
aka Guided by Zena.
That's me. Like from the top.
I mean, just a sec. Just the tip.
I am a fellow Delconian originally. I went to college in Kentucky and then fled to the West Coast, which is where I started getting weird with things in the spiritual sense. I began tapping in. I met my husband there in Seattle. You heard that right, folks. And then I went to grad school in Los Angeles and went to school to be a therapist and did that for a year and then realized, I think a lot of people during quarantining kind of realized what is important to them and what they actually want to do, because we finally had space to for some of us who don't have to be on the front lines, had space to be oh, this isn't working, or this is working, or oh, I was really unhappy and I didn't even realize, which happened to me. So I left doing therapy and now I'm a Reiki master practitioner and an intuitive life coachy person. We haven't nailed it down yet.
I'm like, she would be yelling at me right now if I said a life coachy person.
I don't like life coach though, because I feel like that's not really what I'm doing.
You're just a coach.
Yeah, I'm a guide.
Period. Wherever you need it, she's got you, right? I feel like you definitely.
What she said.
Yeah, she's a coach. Period. Doesn't have to be
And now I live in Oregon.
Oh yeah, I bounced from LA because it's a fucking shit show, and yeah, Oregon, dude, you're living your best life there. I feel.
It's true.
I think that's where you were supposed to be. I'm gonna come up there.
I agree.
Stat.
It's great. We love nature.
We love nature. You didn't even mention your son, but whatever.
Oh my god.
It's literally
And
disrespectful.
I have the cutest dog that's ever lived named Piggy. Zeus's best friend.
Also, Zena was my little, I don't even know, my little mother hen for a second when I got to LA. And then when I got through the curveball of the century and had to be out of my old apartment in 2 weeks, you let me live in your dining room for a month.
That's right.
That was fun for you.
That was a lot for everyone.
It wasn't that bad.
3 dogs,
3 dogs,
2 men,
2 women.
2 women. That's a lot.
Okay, so obviously you are an empath, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
Super tapped in, and I feel like you and I kind of got into cards around the same time, but you like delve way deeper, which story of my life. I'd be tapping into everything for a second and then I'll be like, bye. But so you did the train, like you've done training with cards, you've done training with Reiki, which can we just talk about how I think a big misconception about cards and Reiki, even meditation and breathing, all of those things, everyone is able to do those things. It's just a matter of, first off, recognizing that everyone has those capabilities, because really we're just these spirits having this human experience right now. And what we do with that human experience is our decision. So I just feel like, I don't know, I just want to say that.
Yeah, that's I mean, not funny that you said that, because obviously we're like linked up, because that's something I wanted to talk about, is that like everyone on the planet is intuitive.
Yes.
It's not like a select few people who have like the gift to connect.
Right, connection.
It's just about tapping into it and allowing yourself to do that.
Yes.
Through meditation, etc.
Yeah, like mindfulness. I'm so heavy on the mindfulness right now. Like I'm hell-bent on getting like a mindfulness expert on here, like stat. We just play small so often and don't like step into our power, and then we see people who are using the tools, aka using Reiki, aka using tarot and meditation and crystals and sound healing, all of these things, and it's like we literally are all able to use those things, but we just act like either A, people are weird for using those things, or B, we're above it, or like something else like that. So everyone's able.
I think it's really cool that this stuff is getting super mainstream and like in the popular culture. But on the other hand, I think people just automatically want to be like, go against that and be like, oh, I'm too cool for that. Or like, oh, everyone likes astrology, I don't believe in it, just because it's like popular and trending now.
Right. Well, the fucking Great Awakening is coming again. So everybody better fucking buckle their seatbelt, because if you're annoyed at the astrology right now, you might as well honestly go live remote on a fucking island, because it's about to get real serious. It's happening, which this is actually a perfect time, real quick, to share that story. I think I shared it with you. When we first got shut down last March, there was, I forget exactly when it was, but last March when we were about to go into shutdown mode, well, actually, we had just gone into shutdown mode, but maybe a week prior or a couple days prior, the moon was in Pisces, or moving into Pisces, obviously, it was March. So in my LA fashion, it was time to do a full moon meditation hike with Jude. So I always bring my cards with me and my crystals, and I'll recharge them while we're doing that. And I had put my cards in my backpack, and I honestly forgot about them for a couple days, and we got shut down. This is like when everyone, like in my head, I just pictured that scene from SpongeBob where like all of Bikini Bottom was like lit on fire, you know, and everyone is like running all over the place, like for toilet paper. That was when this was happening. So like it felt like the apocalypse, kind of like I'm just going to be in my bedroom and I don't know what's happening right now. So I was like trying to tidy up my space, because I was like, I guess I'm going to be here for a while. And I pulled out my backpack and I was like, oh shit, I forgot my cards were in here. And I pulled the deck out, and like one card fell out of the box of cards, which I was just like, okay. So I pick it up, and it was the World card. And once I did a little bit of research on it, it was like, this is the beginning of the demolition of everything we've known basically thus far, and like a rebirth of the new world. And I was like, okay, well, that's aggressive. Like, shout out to my guides. Like, what the frig, guys? Just keep the cards in the box. What do you mean? And ever since then, I feel like we really have been just kind of breaking down everything, like all summer. Even like, it's just, we are really moving into a new space of like questioning things with critical thinking and tapping into our abilities, like as, I don't know, like spirits, basically, just like beams of light pretty much in these bodies. And it's like, it's time to like turn up basically as that, and like create this new world that will be more nurturing towards everyone and more based off love rather than fear. And like that.
My mentor just did like a 2021 insight, like intuitive insight, and she kind of was saying the same thing of like, there's no time to not like own and step into your gifts. Like,
yes, it's not weird.
Like,
it's fun. Like, do it, please. We need you.
Whatever your gift is, if it doesn't have to be intuitive, like you're an intuitive reader, but like, are you an artist? Start freaking making art. Are you a basketball player? Go play basketball somewhere.
Right. No, 1,000%. Yeah. Like, what feels good, what lights you up, and lean into that. What I'm getting at all of this is the cards. So you said you would pull a card for everyone listening, or for this episode.
It is perfect for the conversation we were just having. It's the don't dim to fit in card.
See, this is the shit that I'm talking about.
It says, how are you dimming your light in order to fit in? Pause, reflect.
Pause and reflect, people, okay? Seriously, like, why does that? I mean, I guess I know why, but the cards really blow my mind every time, truly.
They just don't be lying.
And there's like 87 cards, so I'm sorry, but it's just not coincidental.
Nope. I'm just reading the first line in like from the book with like the full meaning, and I just love this. It's, don't dim your light to accommodate someone else's smallness. So like, this is really asking, like, you're allowed to be big, strong, and powerful, and that doesn't make other people weak, and you're not like telling people that like they're wrong or they're small by showing how like strong you can be.
Period.
Period. The end.
That also goes into like create over compete, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, just because someone else has these gifts doesn't mean that your gifts are any less valuable or any less like needed and appreciated.
Yep.
Amazing. Great card. Thanks, guys.
We love it.
So we can just real quick just fly over this, but originally you were the co-host of Tap In. We were co-hosts. We were co-contributors. So yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to have you on officially. I mean, there were episodes before these episodes, and you'll never hear them.
I think it all worked out for the best, because who would have known I'd be moving to a different state, like,
yeah, I would have been like, bruh.
I don't know, like 2 months after.
Pretty much.
A month after.
Yeah, I mean, I was late on pulling the trigger, but here we are. I don't know, episode 7, 8. It's time to rage regardless, but I'm just excited to have you on. And like, I plan on bothering you often on here, even though I'm not bothering you. See, that's just the shit.
No, you're not. Yep.
So today's topic that I asked you to come on and talk about was Reiki, because you've been blowing my mind with it, quite frankly. And I was like, you know what? Let's talk about it, because it's pretty interesting and very beneficial, in my opinion. Luckily, I have her personal number, so when I'm having a complete and utter meltdown, I'm like, please get this shit off me. Like, help. And you have a couple times. I think the first time when you were like learning and you were like, can I practice on you? I'm like, all right. Like, at that point, I had only gotten Reiki once or twice before. And obviously, one, it was in person, whereas with you, it was going to be on FaceTime. and I had felt it, but like also I was so new into all of this that you can't help but to be like, have your questions, have your doubts, you know? So the first couple times I got it, I was like, like, yeah, I felt it, but like, I don't know. With you, the first time, I was like, what just happened? Literally, I felt attacked in the best way. I was like, bro, what? And also, like, you've known me my whole life. So I just felt like you tapping into me, let alone from not in the same room as me, was just going to be a difficult thing for you because I truly don't know, because I'm not a Reiki master. Something I definitely have like thought about and just never really looked into further. But I just feel like doing it on people that you know could be harder. Do you think that that's true?
I think the intuitive part of it is like when I get messages about things, because I know your shit like the back of my hand sometimes. So I could be like, oh, she probably has a blocked this and like a blocked that.
Right.
So kind of taking out the ego and like my preconceived ideas and just letting it be kind of neutral is harder.
Yeah, you're like, that fuckboy you were talking to, that's what this is. But you know, I don't know about that because I'm your Reiki master right now, not your friend.
Yes, exactly. I have to like really separate.
Right. So why don't you walk us through your process? And also, like, what do you need to know basics wise about the chakras and things of that nature?
Great question. Well, one, just to kind of summarize what it is, which is kind of hard to do because you can't see it and everyone experiences it differently. But basically, during a Reiki session, I'm reading your energy and like sending you like positive, loving energy. So I think sometimes people get nervous that I could be sending like bad things. It could be negative in any way, but it's not possible. Like it's always a very positive energy. Like I'm not going to be sending bad stuff or like, you know,
could
anything
someone
like that.
send bad stuff? Theoretically, I guess yes, that could kind of be like spells, right? If you wanted to go into
I guess if someone is like, I mean, tapped into some like weird shit, probably.
Like
but
darkness, but you're like a light being.
Yeah. And like in the beginning of sessions, I always ask like for their highest and greatest good. So, I mean, people cry and stuff.
Oh yeah, I know.
But, but it's all for like
it's a release.
Benefit.
It's a cleansing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of cleansing, removing any energy that doesn't need to be there, and then reading the chakras. So there are 7 like main chakras. So the first one, it's actually interesting because these develop over time, like through ages. So the first one that develops is your root chakra, and that has to do with like security, safety, money, feeling like safe in the world, pretty much, groundedness.
Yes.
Then there's your sacral, which is like on your reproductive organ. So it's sensuality, sexuality, creativity, where things are born, very watery. Then is your solar plexus, and that is in your center where your stomach is. And that is like your power, self-worth, self-esteem, confidence, all of those things is there. Then your heart, which easy peasy. Your heart, like love for others, but like also self-love and all of those things. Then your throat, which is using your voice, speaking up, how you express yourself,
speaking your truth, setting boundaries, all connected to your throat chakra.
Yep.
Okay.
Then your third eye, which is like your psychic center, your vision center. But this is also like it's on your brain, so a lot of thoughts get caught here. So this is where like I'll see like when you're talking to yourself meanly and like limiting beliefs and stuff like that.
Right.
And then your crown is your connection to source and like a higher power, meditation, like those things.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm reading as like a blueprint.
Okay. So I think that one day when we did a reading, you explained it to me as, I almost want to grab my crystal to see. Obviously not everyone is going to watch this, so this might not be as helpful as I think it will, but if you do get to watch it, it would be helpful. And we can obviously just explain it like verbally too, but you said that when you are working with a client and you're looking at these 7 energy centers throughout the body, that it's kind of like looking at a stick. And you said that if someone's laying down, and let's just say that like the stick is at each energy center and part of it is outside the body and part of it is inside the body. You said that ideally the whole stick would be lit equally in each of those energy centers. I'm like trying to think of exactly how you explained it to me.
I know what you're talking about.
But like
It was
I think inside, like for instance, my solar plexus was just lit the fuck up, like overtly lit. Whereas my sacral chakra was dim on the inside, bright on the outside, on the opposite ends of the stick. Whereas you were like, no, you want the whole thing to be equally lit, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Sometimes this is where we get like a little woo-woo because I see different like visualizations for everyone. So I think that's just like how they wanted to explain it to you.
Oh, okay.
Some of you, like, I remember your solar plexus was like outwardly you appear very outgoing and confident and like you're super bubbly, et cetera, but like inwardly you don't like you don't show yourself like the same confidence or whatever.
Right.
So that's just, I don't know, sometimes I see it like that.
Okay, so it's not for everyone.
Yeah, I'm always looking at how you're treating yourself and then how it's expressed too, because I mean that's important for living.
You better be nice to yourself if you're going to be nice to other people, or else it doesn't even matter.
Right.
When did you know that you were able to kind of tap in and heal others this way? Or like what sparked that desire to do those things?
I was thinking about this morning, and one of my best friends, growing up, her mom was a Reiki master. Hello, Sarah, if you're listening. So I kind of grew yes. So like I grew up with it, which I feel really lucky about because I never thought it was weird. And I just kind of believed that it worked like forever.
Right.
But I never thought about doing it myself like ever until actually, so I started my training in April, like right after like LA went on shutdown, but the June before that, I was at a psychology conference and they had a tarot reader there. And I literally waited in line all day. Like I knew I had to talk to her, and the reading like blew my mind. And she told me, she was like, you have to get Reiki trained. Like you are doing it already, but you like don't even know it. Like you need to get trained. So like it took me almost a year to like listen to that because I don't think I was ready to start then.
Right.
And so then I was like, just had to do it. And things all kind of worked out perfectly where synchronicities, people listen to them.
Yeah, coincidences aren't real.
No. A friend of mine posted like, oh, I got a Reiki session with someone. It was amazing. And I like DM'd her and was like, can you tell me who it is? I've been looking for someone. And that person ended up becoming my teacher. And like we were meant to work together. We did it all online, which is like not usual for Reiki because it is normally hands-on. So that's how it started and have not stopped since.
It blows my mind. I think the first time you did it, I was like, Mom, Zena just fucked me up. And she was like, what do you mean, Mara? I thought she moved to Oregon. I was like, she did. And she's like, well, how did she do Reiki on you if she's in Oregon? Are you in Oregon? I was like, no, I'm not in Oregon. I'm in LA. And she just did it on FaceTime, Mom. I was like, I literally am shook to my core because when you did our reading at the time, I was in a relationship, not a romantic relationship, but I had a relationship in my life that was draining me, and I wasn't speaking up against the things that were draining me. And AKA, I wasn't speaking my truth. I was not setting boundaries. I was literally being drained like crazy. So the way that you do it, I don't know if you do it like this for everyone. I feel like you probably are like, do what feels best for you. But for me, I think I do best when I am laying down. So how we set up our session was she sets the mood with music, with like sound healing music. Yeah. And I think it's nice to kind of set candles a little bit because you're just kind of like setting your space, filling it with intention and like making it a sacred healing space. So the way that you and I do it, at least, is I'll put you on FaceTime, I'll lay on my floor, I'll put the FaceTime against the wall above me, and you have like viewing power of my body while I lay there. So at this time, when I wasn't speaking my truth, I wasn't setting boundaries, I didn't know that these things were going to affect my fucking chakras, but they did. And you tapped in, and I personally experienced it as a pulsate through my body. My whole body was just kind of like, I felt like the energy like breathing basically, and I was like, okay, this is different. And then I would like could literally feel her. I didn't know that this is what was happening, but I could literally feel her starting at my feet and then working her way up. And at one point, it just felt like the attention was heavy on my throat. Like for like 12 minutes, I was like, dude, what? I can't speak though, because she'll kill me basically, because I'm always trying to just talk. So I'm like, I'm gonna just let her rock out and do her thing. But for like 12, 15 minutes, I just felt this heavy energy just in my throat. So the pulsating feeling was just literally in my throat. And then maybe 5-10 minutes later, when we concluded the session, I like flipped around real quick and I look at her. I'm like, Z, were you just on my throat for like 15 minutes? And she's like, yeah, dude, you just have so much built up there. I was like, oh my God, I felt it. And like that for me, I was like, sold. I'm like, nope, I literally felt her doing that. And you're like, you're not speaking your truth. You're not setting boundaries for yourself. Like, da 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 da. And I was just like floored. I'm like, holy shit. That was my most raked moment.
I feel like you said, like, I thought you were choking me. I feel like you got up in the middle. You're like, see, are you choking
Yeah,
me?
I was like, no, like I literally tried so hard to behave. I was like, just shut up, Mar, just let her do her thing. Don't ask her questions. Cause sometimes you'll start and I just don't realize you're starting. And I'm like, Z? And you're like, what? I'm like, sorry. I just want to make sure you're still there. My eyes are closed. So yeah, I think that everyone needs to call you immediately, because first off, you just shed light on shit that maybe you're just trying to avoid, which might be funner for right now to avoid it and just easier, but in the long run, it's just not it, sis. So just if this isn't something you've experienced and you do feel like you are having blocks in different areas of your life, literally in any area of your life, this is something that this is a tool that I think is definitely one worth exploring for sure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people put so much attention on their physical body and like would spend like shade would spend like
God,
like a lot of money on like a personal trainer or a gym membership, or like really add in physical movement and like make it a priority, which is amazing, but there are like so many parts of you
right,
that need attention. So I've seen in my life like times I only focused on my physical body, like my mental emotional health, and like my energetic body was fucked, and then times I only focused on like my mental and emotional stuff, like my body was out of whack and my energy was also fucked. And then I also went through a phase where I only did energy work, but wasn't paying attention to my physical body or like my mental space. That didn't work either, but combining all three
right,
is like chef's
kiss.
The best.
Literally. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I feel like for sure. And also when you're taking care of your energetic, like, I mean, it's literally not, they don't say mind, body, and spirit for like nothing. It's technically, it should be spirit, mind, and body, but I don't know. What do I know? That's just how I feel. But when you do start to tap into taking care of your energetic being, taking care of your mind, I think obviously being mindful of your body, but like I've talked about this honestly, I think on like multiple episodes, but it's just like your body starts to change when you do start to nurture those other aspects of yourself. Your body has an easier time connecting to the wellness of your mind and your spirit or your light.
Yeah. I mean, Reiki also just helps with like relaxing and grounding. And I mean, right now we all, I feel like, need that more than ever. But when you're in a state of constant stress, it's hard for like anything to feel good, or
Right.
like for the physical stuff you're doing to take effect, or the mental stuff you're doing to take effect. So moral of the story, just do some energy work.
All right, wait. So if someone finds you from this podcast episode, let's give them a code word.
Discount code, tap in.
Oh yeah, duh. Like, that's perfect. Okay, so you can get a discount, which you're fucking welcome, okay? Because it's gonna fuck around and change your life. Yeah, so I mean, you can obviously do what feels best for you on that end of things, but I definitely think that this is something worth exploring. Obviously, I've already said that like 4 times, but I'm like, seriously, I wish I could like show you guys one of my fucking experiences with you, because there have been times that like literally I'm like in shambles, which I feel like I definitely am not one to be like, I have no bad days. That's not me. We all know that that's not true. It's not realistic. I definitely have bad days, but you have like straight up pulled me from the gutter at least once in the past 3 or 4 months, multiple times. But one day specifically, so far in the gutter, I was about to go into the ocean because I was getting washed. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think because I also use it in coaching just to like open people up, because there's something about like connecting to someone's energy like without their brain getting in the way of things, which is something that like bothered me about doing traditional like talk therapy.
Right. Oh yeah, well,
Was that like we have so many walls, we put so many walls up, and it's obviously so hard to be vulnerable with people.
Right.
So when I can do Reiki, it's like our spirits connect, and it's like I'm literally like saying like it's safe, like it's safe to open, like all of these things.
Right.
And then afterwards, like people are so open and can like express things that were kind of hidden.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you just act like things. It's just easier to avoid shit.
Yeah, exactly.
All the time, basically. Okay, cool. I'm trying to think of anything else that would have to do with Reiki.
Well, do you want to talk about intuition?
We can. Yeah. Fuck around. Let's run it. I feel like when we were starting Tap In originally, like basically last year pretty much, I think multiple times when we would pull for an episode, we would get like basically laid out on the floor by cards. And yesterday I read something about people think the cards, or like even astrology and stuff, is like people think that they're not tools necessarily, more or less basically a different entity, kind of, if that makes sense. Like, oh, well, the card said X, Y, and Z, and it's like, no. The cards aren't going to say anything. They're just going to elaborate on what your intuition is already telling you, or like give you insight on the question that you're having trouble tapping into with your intuition.
Yeah. And more woo, like the spirit, like your spirit guides, and like your team.
Woo moment. Like... Yeah, dude, the team. Honestly, I might have to steal that from you, because sometimes, like, I mean, literally in the intro, I was like, I say magic, and if I lose you with that, whatever, bye. But seriously, I mean, there's really no other way to explain it. Woo magic. Well, now there is. It's woo. So, okay, go for it. Sorry.
I was just going to say, they can be a good tool for like validation. Like so I know when I was first starting, like I thought I was getting these messages, and I thought I don't predict the future, but like seeing stuff basically, and
through dreams, and also,
or like
can we just
meditating.
Quick talk about this, what you're saying about seeing, for instance. This is something that really fucked me up when I was really starting to tap in. Everyone was always like, oh, I saw this, or like, I saw this. When you hear someone talk about meditation, or talk about a vision or a dream or whatever, in a dream, obviously, it's going to be a little bit easier to decipher when you're saying you see something. When you're awake and you're meditating or you just have a feeling about something, that's also considered seeing. Yes?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
for a long time, like I was really, really, really struggling. Like for instance, the first time that I got Reiki, when it wasn't even with you. And when I would meditate, I would be like, I don't see anything, because
Same.
me being the literal being that I am, I'm like, fuck. Like in my mind, I'm thinking I'm supposed to be that so Raven, where I'm like looking, like I like my head whips around and I'm like, ooh. And then I see the scene that they put on the screen, when in reality, it's talking about seeing with your mind's eye. So you having a feeling or you having a thought that's perpetuating, that is you seeing something. Or like, right? It could
or
be.
just like a knowing. Yeah, when I say I see things, like for example, like the thing we were talking about with your solar plexus, where I was like, I saw that on one side it wasn't lit up and the other side it was. It's more just like I knew that.
Right.
But I'm not seeing like a movie in front of my eyes, which I
Right.
think
Like she's
tripped
not like
me up
closing her
hard.
eyes and physically seeing something. It'd be like kind of like closing your eyes and okay, you grew up going to the beach at your grandmom's house every summer and you remember that your grandmom's room was peach. So now 15, 20 years later, someone's like, oh, like close your eyes, imagine that you're at your grandmom's house at the beach and you're in her room. Like, what do you see? You're not going to have a vision, actually. You're not going to close your eyes and on the back of your eyes it's going to be a movie screen where you're seeing the peach room.
Some people do.
Well, yeah, okay. So, but what I'm saying is if you don't see air quotes in that way, it's still okay, because knowing is also you seeing. I feel like it's an easy way to kind of get discouraged when you're not seeing 100%. Like that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I think when I was first in my like mentorship group, everyone kept saying like, oh, I saw, and they would explain this most elaborate thing ever, and I was like sitting there like, oh, I fucking didn't hear or see anything, like I just thought I knew something, and then they were like, oh, I didn't see anything, I just knew it, and I was like, oh
okay. Yeah, you're like, cool,
we're all fucking around saying we're seeing stuff and we're not.
Sweet. But I think, yeah, no, you're right in the sense of, I don't mean to completely discredit, like people do full on get fucking visions that, but I think that is someone who is mindfully tapping in intentfully like all the time, or also they're straight up born with like an actual like gift.
Yeah, I think it doesn't mean like you're more intuitive than other people if you see, but you can train yourself to get there, but like not like my mentor who's like insanely intuitive, like can predict everything, I don't even think she sees. So it's not like a medal like, oh, I see, so I'm the most intuitive. Right. Basically anything you're getting is good, everyone, okay?
If you feel it, if you know it, it's probably, I think it's funny because the other day I was actually texting my best friend and I was like, I want you to look at something and I want you to tell me how you feel, and then I want you to tell me what you think, because I think that deciphering between the two is also a huge part of tapping in and like recognizing like the things that are feeding you versus the things that are draining you, kind of. And like obviously you want to start to, like, I think that nurturing your intuition is taking a second and stepping back from, oh, I think X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no. This isn't about what you think right now. This is about how you feel. This is like, I think intuition is more led from your heart. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. It's no ego involved.
Yes. It's like detaching like what your expectations are as well as what you've been told. Kind of. Really. What else do you got about intuition?
Well, I think the rant that I was starting before we went off course, or on course really, was just how you can use cards as a tool to validate your intuition. So I remember when I was first getting started, speaking of like seeing and not seeing things, I had like a knowing. I meditated and was like, should I move into nature? I'm feeling so called to move into nature. And I knew a scene of me like in the middle of nowhere, like spinning around with my arms wide open and just like spinning in circles. And then I asked my cards and I was like, should I move to nature? And I literally pulled a card of a woman standing in the middle of nowhere with her arms out spinning in a circle. And I was like,
dude, that is
confirmed.
my favorite. Like, I'm so heavy on proof. And I think that that's a perfect example of proof. Like,
yeah.
Also, I just want to say, like, before you grab a deck of cards, and also typically they say that you shouldn't buy your own deck of cards.
That's fake news.
Is it?
That's gate. Yeah, no, don't believe. If you're just gonna,
what are you saying?
Strong
Gatekeeping?
desire. Yeah, but like if you have a strong desire to like pull tarot or like connect to oracle decks, and you're just sitting on your ass waiting for someone to gift them to you, nah.
Nah. Okay, fine. But I'm
I
just
bought my
saying,
first
like,
deck and we're all good.
The intention that when you're getting a deck, just make sure the intention is pure. Like, I feel like a lot of, and like an intention filled with light, basically, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are opening a door to more, obviously. You're opening the connection gates, kind of, or at least like cracking them open. So it's like, make sure that you're doing that from like a place of love and like, I don't know, light. Really, it sounds corny, but I just want to stress that because it's like there can be no light without darkness. So darkness does exist, but in the same breath, like,
I mean, I think it's definitely, I do it before any card. I did it before I pulled the card here, is setting the intention. Like I call in like my protectors, like my guides, everyone. I'd like to receive guidance for like the highest greatest good of whoever hears this.
Right.
Because yeah, I mean, people use tarot specifically because there's like darker imagery, like the death card, for example, or something, which is like actually a great card.
Great card,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. But people will use that, you know, like picturing like those people on the Venice boardwalk who are like, oh, someone's dying, and if you pay me $100, I'll tell you who, and like they use it to like scare
like just
you,
not from a good place.
Not,
yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like that.
Just be mindful and be good. Period, kind of. But it's funny because above my bed, one of my favorite things to do before I journal, because I am so like all the time waiting for Ashton Kutcher to like pop out and be like, gotcha. I'm like, what the fuck? So I always heavy journal before I pull a tarot card, because I want to, like, I get tripped the fuck out. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm like, sometimes I'll be so heavy, like in my feels about something and really looking for insight on that I have to write it down and then pull, because if I pull and it's spot on, I'm like, see, I fucking told you. I'm like talking to no one. I'm like yelling at my dog, like, I told you that this is what was happening. But above my bed is the temperance card. I copied it. I brought it to Staples one day and made a copy of it because I was like, I'm floored right now. And it was honestly like not far before I started the podcast, like actually like put it out. So basically in my journal, maybe I'll like put this on the Tap In Instagram, but basically I had written in my journal, like, I feel like I've been climbing up a mountain, I'm getting to the top, like, and I'm feeling good, I'm feeling hopeful, and I really like want to bridge the gap between the material world and the spiritual world, like in a hopes of bettering the quality of life for anyone who is open to that, basically. So anyways, I shuffle the deck, I pull a fucking card, and don't you know it's the temperance card? And do you want to know what's on the temperance card? Some blonde lady who has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the ground. She's like at a pond. And basically that is symbolization for having footing in the spiritual world and the material world. And in the background on the temperance card is a mountain with a motherfucking path up the fucking mountain. And it's like, if you look up the symbolism, it's like there's a path, you've been on the path, and you're coming to the top of the motherfucking mountain. Like, what? I was like, I'm literally unwell, okay? There's over 80 cards in this deck, and you mean to tell me that by coincidence, accidentally, I just pulled this card? No, I'm sorry. I got a whole fucking squad, and they're with me, And they are some motherfuckers in the best way possible. Like, they literally show up all the time and are like rooting for me. And it's like, when you recognize that, you know, your ancestors and beyond, really, you have such an energetic and spiritual support system with you all the time. And like, by you not recognizing that, you're just playing yourself. Really, it's crazy. And it's like, when you recognize them and you're able to express gratitude for them, I don't know, things really are able to move around in your life and progress, really, and open up and like invite in things that are for your betterment, are for growth and expansion, and moving you towards the things that are going to light you up and build you as a person while you are here on earth right now, experiencing the things that you're experiencing. I don't know, that shit just floors me every time.
I mean, I think that can go for like, if this isn't totally your thing, but you're like really heavy in whatever religion you have, but
For
like
sure.
feeling supported by whatever higher power.
Yeah.
And just like remembering that, I see that a lot during readings, is that people are walking around like they have no support, in like that no one's like working for their highest good.
Right.
And I'm like, listen, there's literally a giant team of people like conspiring for your best self. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think the religion is a good thing to kind of bring up, because obviously, like, I went to Catholic school in high school, and like,
Same.
yeah, oh yeah, you did too. Yeah, so like, I
What
forgot.
was I doing there? Good question.
True, so random, but that's not the point. But like, I think it's funny because I know that a decent amount of girls that have reached out to me that have been listening to the podcast have heavy ties to their religion, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I think when you really strip down pretty much all religions, you're getting the same message. And I think it's just some people are able to receive better through however a religion is, I don't want to say pitching it, but pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, the story that they tell.
1000%. I mean, I'll say, obviously, like, where we grew up was a very Catholic area, and my family was not Catholic. Like, I was never raised that way. And for me, looking at people who like really believed in Catholicism, I thought they were weird. Like, I was like, I don't get it. Like, how do you believe this? So I know people are looking at me and us probably that way. So whatever your thing is, like, no shame in whatever you believe.
It's just
like
about
supporting
being
you.
open and like
I'll also
loving,
say,
honestly, like accepting people for that. Like, if you when I say source, if you want to think God, fine. If you want to think, I don't even know what other people, like, at this
Jesus.
point, yeah, like whatever you want to put in place of source, that's what we're saying. At the end of it, though, it's like all about a feeling of connecting and belongingness and caring for others and kindness and love. And like, I don't know, I just think that when you tap into those things is really when you're opening the floodgates for goodness to pour in for you.
They also don't have to be like mutually exclusive. Like, you can be Catholic and believe in spirit guides. I keep mentioning my mentor, but she is like a practicing Catholic and runs like a hugely successful intuitive business.
Right.
And still goes to like church. So they can both.
Well, yeah, and it's like not about being Catholic. You're practicing catechism.
Catechism.
Is that right? I don't know. Ange said the same thing to me yesterday. I think catechism is like I don't want to say the agenda of the Catholic teachings. Googles.
I thought that was You're right. A summary of the principles of Christian religion in the form of questions and answers.
Okay, so Christian.
It must be like is it a book?
I don't want to I think it's like the teachings of.
Yeah. Catechism of the Catholic Church or whatever.
Yes. Okay, so I knew it. I got caught out for this yesterday too. I'm like, I know I'm not making this word up. I make a lot of words up. This is not one of them. But like, I'm just saying, I think that a lot of times people will identify themselves as I am Catholic, I am Christian, I am Jewish. And it's like, no, you practice Judaism.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You are, however you want to spin it, a spirit having a human experience, practicing Christianity, practicing Judaism. Like, I don't know. I think that it's an easy thing. It's easy to kind of lose your identity in things sometimes.
Oh my God, in anything.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like kind of like a scapegoat, kind of like, well, I don't believe that because I'm Catholic. It's like, okay, or you're closed-minded, but sure, whatever. And I'm not saying you're closed-minded if you're Catholic. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, what everyone believes is going to be true to them. But I think that when you are having those conversations, keeping an open heart and keeping an open mind is such a more empowering and powerful tool to expand yourself and expand your understanding of the people around you and like creating a connection.
Shop the fairy garden for your open heart, open mind party.
That's not what I'm saying, but yeah, basically also. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of power in that. And also just like accepting people for like who they are and like what they believe.
It's a good exercise to examine what identities you're holding onto really tightly.
Yep. It's funny. One of my ex's friends who we all went to Catholic high school, like I forget, it was his birthday the other day, and I was like, you would be a Sagittarius. Like I wish I knew this, and I wish I knew what that meant before. I was like, you are a Sag man if I have ever seen one. And he's like, you're into witchcraft, like I'm praying for you. And I'm like, shut up. Like, he's like, I thought you were a good Catholic girl. I'm like, guess technically I am, because I got my first Holy Communion, and I had a sponsor in 8th grade that one time. Like, I don't know. Like,
wait, what's that? Confirmation,
dude.
You
exactly.
were confirmed.
Yeah, I was confirmed, okay? The Holy Spirit said she's good. But that doesn't mean that my guides didn't say I'm good too. Like, don't put me in a box. I am liquid and there are cracks in each box. So I'll just go into the next one too.
I think on the next one, can we talk about relationships?
What, so you can blast me? Sure, Z.
Well, we're in relation to everything.
Oof. Yeah, we'll just copy and paste that into the next one. Thank you so much for spending your part of your Saturday afternoon with me and us. I'm actually really excited about this because, I mean, I can tap in with a lot of people, but not necessarily always the way that I can tap in with like people that are very tapped in themselves. I think you might even be more tapped in than I am, to be honest.
I think that is also a good thing to point out. Like, if you are interested in this stuff and looking for like people to talk to about it, obviously connect with us, because I didn't have,
we have to drop our bomb, which will be basically
that
the same
where
thing.
I was going.
Keep going though. Yeah. Reach out to her, reach out to me. Yeah.
Because that was, if I didn't have my people to talk to about this stuff, I would, well, one, it probably wouldn't be like my career, I guess, now. Two, I would think I was crazy at all times.
Yep.
And just having people who are into the same things as you is just important. So if you're on this path, we got you.
Yeah.
Especially
DMs
before the new year.
Still open. Also, before the new year, Zena and I will be hosting a vision board manifestation intention. Party. Oh yeah, and Reiki party, Zoom party. Obvi, it's 2020. No one gets to see each other in real life. Are you crazy? So yeah, we will be hosting this on the 30th, and we'll have more details to come in this upcoming week. When this episode comes out, it'll be the week following. And what did we say? It would be like $21?
Yeah, 21.
Oh, yeah, for 2021.
21,
yes. Baby. Okay, cool. Yeah. So keep your eyes peeled for details on that. And apparently look forward to the roasting of relationships. Okay, I love you. Thank you for coming on.
Love you.
Thank you for
Okay,
listening.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. We will see you on the next episode.